Have you been working from home during the pandemic? Have you not ventured into an office for the best part of 18 months? Well, if the answer is yes, then you need to watch this video, because today I'm going to talk to you about how to lead remote and hybrid teams. Yes, that's right. If you are a manager of people and you have to lead teams, the chances are you are going to face some new and unusual challenges. One of those will be hybrid teams, the flexibility between working from home and those being in the office. But before we get into that, my name is Brendan. I am a recovering accountant based here in London, and I help millennials navigate busy lives and make sure that work doesn't suck. So, I'll let you into a little secret. I've not commuted properly on a train for the best part of 18 months. It has been amazing. I've been working from home. I've been fortunate enough to be one of the many who have been able to work from home. And that means that I haven't had to commute, haven't had to stand in somebody's armpit, haven't had to worry about getting dressed, although haven't worried to put on a suit for a long time. But it does mean that I'm able to work from home. Now, as we come to the end of the pandemic, there is becoming more and more conversations and discussions around how are we going to continue to operate as businesses and as teams as we begin to return to whatever the new normal is. With that in mind, many companies have decided that with home working so well, and it was a bit of a surprise, that they're going to allow their staff to do it forever. Deloitte came out and said they're not going to enforce working in the office to any of their staff, and they might actually say that you can work from wherever you like. That said, if you're going to work at client sites, that might be a different one. People like Twitter have announced that they will allow people to work from home, and others, such as Goldman Sachs, have said that they expect everybody back in 5 days a week. Not sure how that's going to go. But if you are one of the fortunate few who have been working from home and have the opportunity to go back into the office 1 or 2 days a week, then this video is for you, because those staff need managing differently. Yes, that's right, because the styles of leadership that worked previously pre-pandemic will not be relevant now, because hybrid working is here to stay. Those leaders who employed the old school techniques will no longer work in the modern era. Modern era, hybrid working, new world, call it what you will. However, I don't think that managers and leaders fully appreciate how leading hybrid teams is such a different beast compared to those in the office or those fully remote. And that's why I'm here to give you my 5 tips on managing and leading a hybrid workforce as we return to the office. So with that, let's dive straight in. Number 1 is all around people don't get a job to learn how to trust somebody. Now, what that's really saying is you need to trust your staff. If you trusted them when they worked for you in the office, you need to continue to trust them when they are not in the office. Now, it's actually a complete fabrication that people who are in the office are super productive, because it's been proven that really only 3 to 4 hours of a 7 or 8 hour day are actually productive time, especially when being in the office, because there are water cooler conversations, there's tea to be made, there's distractions and all that other stuff. But then when it comes to hybrid or remote working, people always get that, well, what happens if they're not doing their work? Or what happens if I can't see them? Well, you trusted somebody in the office, so why is it any different when it comes to trusting them out of the office? The answer is, it isn't. You have employed your staff because they are capable, professional individuals who were employed to do a job. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean that that changes. As a leader, you need to empower and trust your team to deliver. I firmly believe that part of the outcome of COVID and this remote and hybrid working means that we are going to shift society from a time-based environment, i.e. having to do 40 hours a week, to an output and delivery-based society, which can only be a good thing, because it means that we get rid of presenteeism, which is quite frankly the bane of our lives. Nobody should just be sitting in the office just to prove that they can stay late. It doesn't impress me. In much the same way that Shania Twain said, that don't impress me much, doesn't impress me either. Fundamentally, if you don't trust the people that work for you, you've made a bad hiring decision, and that's on you. As Jason Fried and DHH write in their incredibly insightful and premonition-based book, Remote, either learn to trust the people working for you or find some new people to work with. Harsh but fair. But again, very true. Number 2 is all around the 9 to 5 day is dead. Now, I've long banged on about how I think the 9 to 5 day is an old, outdated concept established by Henry Ford to look after the Industrial Revolution. Well, we have moved on a long way since then. So the 9 to 5, basically in a remote and hybrid environment, doesn't really exist because people will more likely log on a bit earlier or log on a bit later, but then work longer later into the day as well. If you are working from home, the chances are that you will probably be living at work. That means that you can't escape where you're working because it might be the kitchen, it might be the dining room, it might be wherever. With that in mind, if you don't have to commute and you start at maybe 7:30 or 8 o'clock and you work for a couple of hours, you've already been more productive than you would have been had you gone into the office. Now, conversely, you get to the end of the day and you might think, well, actually, I'll just carry on going. I'll just do that little bit extra because I just want to get this thing finished. All of a sudden, you've worked to 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock. Because the laptop or the computer is there, it's harder to break away. You may also fall into the trap that if your housemate or your other half has gone out, you could think, well, I'll just kind of carry on doing that. That then snowballs, so you're no longer working a 9 to 5 day. It could end up being an 8 till 8 day. The separation between work and home has been blurred. Yes, we are living at work. Yes, it's a bit of a challenge. But in order to manage and lead a remote and hybrid workforce, you need to help understand and make sure that your workforce feel valued. Because if they are working more than the 9 to 5, the chances are you are going to deal with burnout. That is a very real threat to your team. So please just be aware that your teams are probably working more now that they're working from home than they probably were in the office. If that is the case, you need to touch base and catch up with them on a more regular basis. But I will come to that in a moment. So number 2 is all about the 9 to 5 day being dead, and you need to be aware that people are connected and working more. Number 3 is all around all of the time. Now you're probably looking at me going, Brendan, what the dickens are you talking about? Well, if you are a hybrid team, you can't be waiting on individuals to provide insights or documents or details if you're in different time zones or some are in the office and some are at home, because that just doesn't work. That's how productivity gets slashed. So the whole idea is all of the time is that all documents need to be available all of the time, anywhere to anyone. Now, there are always going to be sensitivities and confidentiality issues, but think about the teams that you have working for you. If they're in the coding space, are they using something like GitHub and a repository that allows anybody to see what's going on? What you don't want to do is for people to hold on to data and information and think that knowledge is power, therefore they have to rely on you to answer that question. That's what people do in the office. People have made huge careers over that. So being able to provide all of the information, all of the time to anybody that needs it is absolutely critical. There are so many good cloud storage options, whether it be through Microsoft's own OneDrive or Dropbox or Google Drive or any of the other cloud-based storage options. There is no excuse for not providing access to all of the details and documents that you need all of the time. So please don't make that mistake, because if you are waiting for Johnny to come in Chicago and he is 8 hours behind where you are and you're sat there proverbially twiddling your thumbs, yeah, that's not good for anybody. So please make sure that you have access to the data and information that you need as and when you need it, not only for yourself, but the rest of your teams. Number 4 is all around, it's the work that matters. As I mentioned right at the beginning, we're moving from a time-based society to an output-based society, certainly in the working world. So if you've got hybrid teams and you can't see some of them, doesn't mean that they're not working. You should probably judge your team on their outputs. Yep, judge them on the outputs, not how long their status is green on Microsoft Teams, for example. If you read the amazing book by Jason Fried and DHH called Remote, they go into great detail around how they've built this amazing company without actually meeting a number of their staff for months. They trust the team that they have and they base their hiring decisions on the output that they deliver. If people are delivering, does it matter how long it takes them to do it? I say to my teams, if you've got 8 hours worth of work and you do it in 6 hours, kudos to you. Take those other 2 hours and go and do something else. Spend some time with the family, go to the gym, go for a walk. If you want to take on more work, then crack on. But it's about being productive. It's not about the time that you put in. That's why timesheets are a complete pain in the ass. But just remember, It's the work that matters when you have a hybrid team, and it's not how long somebody's status is green on Teams. And number 5 is really important. It's called leveling the playing field. Now, one of the big threats around hybrid working is that there's going to be a disparity between those in the office and those not in the office. The disparity comes in terms of the so-called water cooler conversations and having the discussions that happen when the meeting finishes, and just being able to be a part of the community and building up the rapport with your colleagues. It's hard. The worry about being out of sight, out of mind is very, very real. And if you are not in the office, or you are in the office, you need to be really clear as a leader how you're going to keep a level playing field. The chances are you're going to need to communicate more. You are going to need to touch base and call in and check up with your remote teams more and more often. It's not good just to let them go, but I would say please make sure that you understand how people best work. Do they want to be more micromanaged? Or would they rather be told, this is what we're trying to do, empower them to do so, and let them ask for help when they need to? So think about it. There is a real danger that hybrid working will end up in a 2-tier system. Those that go into the office get all of the opportunities, those that are not in the office miss out on all those opportunities. So as a leader, you need to be really clear around how are you going to make social interactions on an equal basis? Are you going to have team get-togethers? Are you going to make sure that those people who are not in the vicinity have the same opportunities as those that do? It is a surefire way to piss people off, and to be honest, as we go through hybrid working becoming more and more relevant, people will vote with their feet and they will just leave if they're not feeling like they're being valued. So please do be aware. And that's it. They are the 5 tips for leading and managing a hybrid workforce. I think you will find them useful, especially if you are venturing back into the office soon. If you did find it useful, please do check out this video here where I talk about the most successful career tips that I've received as a millennial, and I think you will find that useful too. So with that, have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.